It's such a big thing to happen and such a shock factor. You can't have that again. If I got another head kick in the next fight, it'd be awesome, but it's not the shock factor. It's not the same. Having a victory that big, it's like, well, now what?
What kind of pressure did you experience after beating Ronda Rousey?
It's such a big thing to happen and such a shock factor. You can't have that again. So, which, I mean, for me, I love to fight, but every fight is not going to have that. If I got another head kick in the next fight, it'd be awesome, but it's not the shock factor. It's not the same. So you can't compare each fight. You can't compare the journey of each fight. Everything that was on my shoulders and all the weight and the pressure I felt leading up to that fight, and then having a victory that big, it's like, well, now what? Now, but my dad said this before, and I truly agree. Some people, or a lot of people, are afraid of failure, but so many people are afraid of success because the more you succeed, the more is expected of you. And a lot of people can't handle that kind of pressure either, so they like to stay where it's comfortable. And I don't ever want to be that. I'm okay with pressure. I was okay with pressure before and after.
So it sounds like after that victory, the main thing that changed for you wasn't necessarily pressure. It was kind of like almost what now? Like almost, well, I've reached it. It's almost like a letdown.
For me, it's like the next fight is going to be just as important to me, no matter how shocking it is or not is to other people. And I need to keep my motivation on this. Some people, after something like that, it's hard for them to be motivated for the next fight.
That's what I was trying to say.
And it's not, I never felt like that. I never felt like,
good.
Oh, you make up stupid shit to get yourself into it, you know? Well, this is the first fight I've ever had this. This is the first, like, I want to make sure and do this, right? You know, you have to dig deep and create your own
high stakes.
Yeah, in order to be fighting the best in the world, you have to have built in you ambition, self-determination. So if you've made it that far, it's in you to be able to still be motivated for whatever fight's in front of you, no matter if it's, you know. To me, I knew there were so many other girls out there that were super tough that's not. It was a huge fight, and I definitely dominated the fight. But I knew that wasn't the only fight.
So following that, you had a few losses after Ronda.
Yeah.
How did it feel to snap that loss streak with another iconic head kick?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it felt so good. And even like talk about like that celebration that's kind of involuntary. After I knock her out, like I look at the video and it's like I didn't plan that, but I turn around and I just kind of punch my hand down. And in my head, I was thinking, finally, like that's what I'm talking. Like I should have been doing that in the last two. You know what I mean? Like I was almost like mad that I hadn't done it in my last ones, but it was like it was more, just for something in myself that I was like, that's what it's supposed to be like. You know, and with a different type of kick, a different type of setup. The head kick with Ronda knocked her out, but all the straight punches is what dazed her leading up to it.
Well, and sending her to her knees by you slipping so many. The slips were just as impressive to me as I thought.
Yeah, you know, in boxing, I fought Christy Martin. She had been on cover of Sports Illustrated. She had fought on the undercard of Mike Tyson, and she had like almost 50 fights, and I only had 12. She was supposed to fight for the $1 Million Lady fight. So when the $1 Million Baby movie came out, Lucia Riker was in the movie. She's the bad boxer that like cheap shots Hillary Swank. Mm-hmm. But then after the movie came out, then they were going to have the $1 Million Lady fight, and it was supposed to be Lucia and Christy Martin. And then that fight fell through. I don't know what it was. They paid them out to not have it. I don't know. Who knows? There wasn't funding or there wasn't I don't know. But it didn't happen. But they had both been training. And Christy Martin was kind of, I think, voicing. I had 12 fights. I'd only had, I think, one or two title fights at that point. I had just had, like, 4 rounds, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 6 rounds, 6 rounds. Like, so I had fought for a title by this point, but I hadn't fought that many times, 10 rounds, you know. And then my promoter at the time, he's my manager now, but he messaged and was like, hey, if you want to fight, you've been training. I know that you were expecting this fight. Come down here and I'll pay you. And he actually took a pay cut for how much money came in on that fight, just believing that it would be a huge fight for me and to be able to keep moving up. So I fought Christy Martin. And in that fight, I had watched so much film of her, and I could just see her punches, like, in my sleep. And in the fight, I had her swinging at air, and I was ducking under and all this. Fast forward to the fight when I was fighting for the title with UFC. In the locker room, my coach looked at me, and he said, Holly, there's going to be a Christy moment in this fight. You're going to see her timing. You're going to see it from... You're going to be watching her throw the end of her punch, mark my words. And then when it happened in the fight, I was like, there it is. We got this. Just stay focused. Like, you can see her timing. Don't be there. Because she gets her hands on you. She can throw you down. She's very quick. You know, she's very, very quick. And you can be dominating and still lose in the last, get submitted in the last minutes, the last seconds of the last round. Yeah. So I definitely was still on edge. Like, I wanted to make sure I didn't put my guard down, but I was like, if you stay focused, you've got her timing, you'll be fine. So.
And am I just thinking incorrectly? But I swear you did it like many times. You were just like dancing.
There was times that I felt it. There was the one that was like a big time one where she went down to her knees, you know, and that was the one that I was like, there it is. I got her timing. Just stay on it.
Incredible. I'm so glad that got brought up because that was something. I've always wanted to ask you.
And that's something that actually came a lot from my boxing background.
The Bethe Correia, she was like taunting right beforehand. Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes into what you were previously saying of your timing. You obviously are in this like flow state. When she taunts you right before the head kick, what's going through your head? Anything? Or is it just muscle memory at that point?
My coach, Mike Winkledon, before the fight, he said, Holly, don't rush it. Because she's one of those that as soon as you go in, she throws. She's not the most, like, skilled, but she'll, like, throw. So you always have, like, a chance to, like, and any punch can be it, you know. So he's like, don't play into her game. And she's going to get frustrated. When she gets frustrated, then expose. And he said that before the fight. So as soon as it happened, I was like, there it is. It is. Yeah. Oh and God. Not every fight plays out like that. Of course. You know. Not every fight plays out like that, but that was definitely another one that I was like...
Same coach?
Yes. So I've had the same coach since I started.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So, like you said, not every fight is like that, but how pretty cool is that 2 of your big ones are what he's called out?
There's been plenty of times he's called out things that have been... His game plan has never failed. The only time I've ever lost is if I failed the game. Like, I didn't perform it, you know? He's a mastermind at fights, for sure.
That's very humble of you. I'm sure he... I don't want to speak for him, but if I was
I had to perform it.
Yeah.
But he had to guide me there.
Aw.
He, meaning he's my... But obviously, there's a whole team behind me as well, like, coming into MMA. I'm not saying that that's not, you know... There was a lot of stuff that I also talked about with Coach Greg, just like, you know, just some details like, hey, watch this front arm when she's going to reach you for the grab. Like, when I was getting ready to fight, you know, just to not even end up in... you know, territory. Getting tossed in the arm bar. And then also my jiu-jitsu coaches that were like, hey, she loves to grab arm bars from the back. Like, it goes from, like, there's level, like, it takes an army.
But there was a couple times when you were in that zone of clinch, of whatever. Yeah. What was going through your head then? Just... I prepared for this.
Yeah, I did it so many times in the gym that I was kind of like, oh.
Here it is.
Yeah, we're not in a good one right now, but we're going to do this, this, and this to get out.
And you did.
Yeah. The one time when I actually took her down, which I was doing that in practice sometimes, and my coaches would get frustrated.
I was going to say, was your first like, what the?
Yeah. Well, they were like, Ollie, you know that, okay, nice takedown, but you know that's not the game plan. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But it was one of those things, everybody that was sparring was like doing hip tosses over and over and over. And sometimes it was too far. I knew I was going to go. So I was like, well, I'd rather just, instead of get thrown, do it. But I kind of started doing it too much in training, you know, rather than just making space. And in the fight that happened, my wrestling coach, Izzy, he goes, that was the biggest no yes moment of my life. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't even imagine like the roller coaster you guys go through. It is so fun to hear from
There's
you.
so many stories just from one fight night, much less the whole training camp.
And you've had, if Google's right, over 85, like over what I know.
I don't even remember, honestly.
In the cage.
I really don't remember.
Today you were saying it's got to be over 50, but
No,
then
it's well over 50.
It's well over. Yeah.
It is well over 50.
Oh, I love it. It's just another day for you.
Yeah, because I'm always just thinking about, I honestly couldn't tell you the total fights I have.
And I don't know if Google's right, but it was like 89 or something, but
not that many.
Google's a liar.
If you include my amateur, I only had 8 amateur fights though, so it's definitely a lot, but I don't know. I'd have to go calculate. I'd have to go count.
Your first fight in the UFC was with Raquel Pennington. How did it feel to see her win the belt so many years later?
And I also fought her again. She's the only person in MMA that I rematched, and I even dominated more in the second fight. Not necessarily like a ton of like, it was more like clinch and things like that. But she always is able to make a messy fight in those situations, and I was able to shut her down, shut her game plan down. So I actually took pride in being able to do that. And so she made it there. She got the belt, but I'm not a hater. There's times that I lost a fight because I didn't perform how I was supposed to. So that's on me.
Winning the belt though, did it have any, like you said, not hate, or did you have any like proud or like, hey, kind of like if I lost, or if I'm in the playoffs, my Phoenix Suns lost, I kind of want them to win the championship. Was there any type of like?
I mean, anybody. But anybody I fight, I want them to go win.
Yeah.
Anyone. If I lost, I want them to go win because I better not be the only one that they can beat and then they get beat by others. If I win, I still want them to go win because it means I beat the best.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody I fight better go knock everyone out because that means I'm that much like. That's my competition.
Great point, yeah.
I don't, when people are like, oh, don't you want her to lose? And I'm like, no, because what does that say about me? I want all of them to go out and win because that means that I fought the best there is.